Welcome back to the XandO Sports Show. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley. And tonight we're going to talk about some playoff basketball. It is in full effect. One thing I love about the playoffs, it separates the contenders from the pretenders. So now that we done got all the pretenders out the way, the cream of the crop has rise to the top. So we're going to start off with our basketball conversation first. Of course, I watch other sports. However, one topic that got a lot of criticism was Stephen A. Smith making the comment that Donovan Mitchell is the best player ever for the Utah Jazz. Now, hands down, Donovan, he's done unbelievable things. He's done a whole lot of things that most people can't do. I know Stephen A. Smith got excited and got caught up in the moment. And a lot of these analysts out here, they get paid a lot of money and they live in the moment. I don't know if he made this comment for likes or views, but I was very disappointed in him. Because first of all, let's be realistic. Donovan Mitchell has only been playing in the NBA for 4 years. 4. He's still on his rookie deal. I'm not saying he can't rise to the top and be great, but he only been playing for 4 years. But if you ever go down the history of the Utah Jazz, there are two players that I would not put him in front of right now, just for the respect of what they did for the game and for the Utah Jazz. The first one is the legendary John Stockton. The second is Karl Malone, a.k.a. the Mailman. The fact that Stephen A. Smith said that Karl Malone and John Stockton ain't this guy, he's right, they're not. But the fact that you're gonna put them ahead of both of these guys, so I'm a stats guy, and Stephen A. Smith apparently he doesn't care about stats. I like Stephen A. I still watch him every day, but I feel like he's wrong on this one. So we're gonna go down this beautiful beam footage of stats. So everybody know that John Stockton played in the league for 18 seasons. 18. Back then, basketball, I can say it was a little harder because it was less athletic. Well, less athletes. Everybody's pretty much superior athletes now. But 18 seasons. His last year, he's pretty much a true point guard. He had 10 points, like 8 assists or whatever. But that's right at 40 years old. Karl Mailman Malone had 19 seasons with a body of work. 19. So they weren't just not good. They dominated. And to me, John and Karl should have had at least 2 championships if it wasn't for those pesky Bulls of Michael Jordan. Like I said, I like Mike, and I watched the Bulls back in the day. But single-handedly, if they did not stand in their way, they would have won 2 championships and rocked the West for at least 2. Maybe 3, that's stretching it, but I'll say at least 2. So, like I said, I like Donovan. He's killing. The young man has done everything everybody asks. He plays basketball hard every single play. But I still cannot believe that he put this young man ahead of both of those legends already. Shame on you, Stephen A. I think Stephen A. Smith was sipping on too much of that new Mountain Dew, because there's no way that you could put Donovan ahead of them. You forget that Karl Malone single-handedly is number 2 on the all-time scoring list. Number 2. That's a lot of points. LeBron is 3, Kobe is 4, Jordan is at 5. So you telling me you're going to put him ahead of all? No, he's absolutely wrong. I think he did that for likes or views or just a negative traffic coming to his channel. But no, you're wrong. So let's look at what Karl Malone did single-handedly. So Karl Malone's best year, he was 31 points, 11 rebounds. 31 and 11. He's playing power forward. 31 points, that's a lot. Outside of his rookie year, Karl Malone worst season outside his rookie year was 20 points and 8 rebounds. That's his worst. All 19 seasons, that was the lowest points total he had as the Jazz. Now, I don't count that Laker year because he was just kind of there just, as a filler. But just with the Jazz, it was 20 points, 8 rebounds was his single-handedly low. He had plenty of seasons. He averaged 29 points, 30 points, 28 points. Double-digit rebounds. Killing. Like I said, Donovan plays a different position, but still, he was saying like, oh, well, he could single-handedly outscore Karl Malone from what he was saying. No, he can't. Not yet, anyway. So, Karl Malone last year with the Jazz, 39 years old, almost 40 years old. I said, Donovan, if you're out there, if you're listening, this is my suggestion. Go out, win your MVP, which you can do. I've seen what you can do. You can win that MVP. You had your team, number 1 in the West this year. If you do that again with the season that you're having, without any injuries, hands down, I think you would be the runner, if not the MVP next year. Also, I feel like if you get at least 2 titles, 2, not 1, but 2, I feel like this conversation will shift, and yes, you will be the best Jazz player ever. He doesn't even have to pass Karl Malone in points to be classified as the best Jazz ever. If he wins 2 championships and an MVP, and put a good body of work, and once he take his sneakers off, as analysts and sports guys that love to watch, we will readjust this conversation later. As for right now, Stephen A. Smith, you're absolutely wrong. Back to the playoffs. I was pretty interested in, for some teams that were playing, I really enjoyed the Hawks and the 76ers. I feel like for some teams, the writing is on the wall. And I started writing this episode, or actually brainstorming this episode. And the Suns were up 3-0. So the writing one is in the wall for the Joker. But I feel like Trae Young, tonight he's playing, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they're playing at 7:30 in Utah, and the Clippers are playing at 10:30. I think Trae Young still has a chance to make this series very even. I don't think he could personally win it just because of coaching and the youth from their team, but I think he will make it interesting, and the fans that pay their money, or the people that are paying cable to watch it, will get their money's worth. I feel like Trae is going to bounce back. When they decided to put Ben Simmons on him as a defender, Ben Simmons is 6'8.5". He's long, he's athletic. Trae Young might be 6'2", being nice. He has the range, but getting around somebody 6'8" with a 7'4" wingspan, that is tough, and it's going to wear on him. So I feel like he's going to need some help. The Hawks, y'all better help out. Trae can drop 40, no problem, but he's going to need help because he cannot guard Ben Simmons, so that means somebody else is going to have to guard Ben Simmons on the other side. And Ben Simmons is not a little fella. He's not the elite scorer that people want him to be, but he could work for my offense. I won't have him shooting threes, though. Like I said, Ben Simmons' defense has slowed Trae Young down just a little bit. If Ben Simmons keep this up and the Hawks can't figure that out, it would be a gentleman's sweep, and it'll be 4-0, and it'll be over. No offense to Trae Young. I mean, the fact that some people thought that they wouldn't even make the playoffs. So it's a win-win, but I want to see it at least go into 6 games. So, Trae, hey, if you can win the series, great. If not, I need at least 6 games. NFL season hasn't come up yet, but, I just need at least 6 games. All right, next we have the Nuggets. The Nuggets were unfortunately eliminated tonight, and I was very disappointed with what happened in the game. Everybody was like, oh, because everybody, if you watch the game, the MVP, Nikola Jokic, I think I said his name right, he got frustrated because he got fouled, and he went to go for a swipe steal. That's what his intent was, because if he was really intentionally trying to hurt the guy, he's 7 feet, he could have just punched him. It'd have been over with. He goes to swipe over the guy's shoulder, and he rips the ball down. However, his hand wrist rakes the guy's nose, and he falls down on the ground, and he's like, he took a shot to the face. And they call a foul. And, Devin Booker stands up for his guy. I have no problem with that. But the fact that he rakes the guy over the nose when he was trying to steal the ball, they was like, oh, so long story short, they ejected Nikola Jokic. I thought that was stupid. First of all, he's the MVP. Second of all, he was the only attraction for the Nuggets for people to even watch the game. If I was not a basketball fan, I would have turned the game off. It was terrible. So I'm just like, you can't really just eject him. A flagrant 2 for that. He hit the guy across the bridge of the nose. I remember in the 90s. I know people are like, well, you're still living in the 90s. That's fine. If it was no blood, there was no foul. The fact that he got hit in the nose and his nose didn't bleed clearly tells you it was not that hard of an impact. They just made it bigger than what it was. Jokic got sent home early. However, the Nuggets did make it interesting, though. They didn't just outright blow him out. And I feel like, hands down, you should never eject an MVP unless it's a fight. No, I just feel like that was despicable to the game. And I feel like those referees sometimes try to make the game about them because they feel like the players don't respect them. But I feel like that was stupid to eject a MVP. No, absolutely not. As far as I know in the history, I've never seen Jokic, a.k.a. the Joker, as a dirty player. I mean, somebody I know, I forgot that guy. He was on Twitter. He said that he got fouled the same way. And I'm just like, he's never been in the headlines as a dirty player. So what would really give you any indication that, okay, this should be a flagrant 2, we're going to throw him out? Draymond Green hard fouled LeBron in the play-in game. Draymond Green probably got 3 fingers in LeBron's eyeballs. And put LeBron down hard. And it was a flagrant 1. Okay, it was a hard foul. I don't have a problem but getting a flagrant 1 for a hard playoff foul. But an injection, like I said, unless it's a fight or it was just like he hauled back, they was like, oh, the wind up motion. The dude is 7 foot. There's nothing quick about his arms that are 74 inches long a piece. There's nothing quick, so of course he has to wind up. But like I said, that was bogus. Like I said, Jokic, keep your head up, always next year. But moving on to the Nets and Bucks series, it's all tied up. I do like the response by the Bucks. I felt like that 49-point embarrassment should have never happened, and it was a wake-up call. So now they tied the series. However, unfortunately, during the play of the game, Kyrie Irving was hurt. So now Kevin Durant is not only without James Harden, he's also without Kyrie Irving. But this is the interesting part. Does he need both of them to get past the Bucks? This is my personal opinion of what Kevin Durant can do. I would say no. With the team he has now, he could finish the Bucks off by himself. He could, but will he? Because he's no longer going to have to be like, okay, let me get my 35 and 10. No, he's going to have to get about 40, 12, and 10. He's going to have to be a little bit of a facilitator. He's got to be a scorer. He's got to make everybody around him better. He can score any given moment he wants. But will it be enough? So that is the main thing. It's going to be interesting. I feel like he can still beat the Bucks without both of them. And he's going to have to go back to, I'm going to give you 40 or 50. Because if he ever gets to the elbow or inside of the three-point line, nobody's really going to stop him from putting his shot up. If any given time, he can get a shot. And if he gets hot, he's going to put 50 on you. I don't care if P.J. Tucker or, Lionel Richie's guarding him. Nobody's going to stop him. So, Kevin Durant, go get you a shape up, brush your hair, and let's go. I want to see 50 from you. And then I also have a star by this, and because I always give him a hard time. Only reason why I give this player a hard time because I know what he should have been. And some people blame it on an injury. I blame it on lack of effort. Paul George, and I got to start beside, can Paul George, a.k.a. Playoff P, take the Clippers in deeper into the playoffs out of this hole? Or is he going to stick it up and go home? Now, the other night he had 25, and he played great defense, and that's what I kind of expect from him. I don't really expect him to drop 40 or 50 and still play great defense or somebody. He's not Kobe Bryant. But I remember when he played for the Pacers years ago, and I'm looking like, this dude has it. He took LeBron and the Heat into like 2 7-game series. Like, I was like, they're just one piece away from beating LeBron because they just had too much firepower. And all of a sudden, he started doing Gatorade commercials and Nike commercials, and he had that one injury. He really never came back the same. His confidence grew, but his game didn't. Like I said, he's still a good player, and he's still a good two-way player. But Donovan Mitchell is giving him and Kawhi Leonard the business. Me personally, this is me as an old competitor. No way I can guard these guys now just because, I haven't played sports in a long time. But if I was able to play, I would take it personal that Donovan Mitchell is getting buckets. If I'm 6'7", 6'8", like Paul George, Donovan Mitchell's going to have to see me. I like Donovan. I think he's playing great. but he's going to have to see me. If I don't score no more than 10 to 15 points a night, I'm picking him up all 92 feet or 94 feet. He's going to have to see. They're going to have to give somebody else the ball in order to get him up there. They're going to have to call special plays for him because I'm on him like flies on you know what. So playoff P, you better show up. As for the NBA season, it's coming to a close. NFL season will be up and around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of teams have a lot to prove this year, but there are 3 teams I feel like have to prove the most. We all know the Chiefs are good. We know Tampa Bay is going to run it back, possibly. But it's 3 teams that I feel like need to prove something to the world that they're no longer here. They have arrived. Number 1 is the Cleveland Browns. You have one of the best run offensive line. They're also statistically one of the better pass blocking. You have Baker Mayfield. As long as he don't turn the ball over, you guys would be great. You have Odell Beckham coming back. You have a lights out defense with Jadeveon Clowney being added. So I feel like they need to rise to the occasion. Anything underneath the AFC Championship, Browns is a failure. Baltimore Ravens. You got a couple more weapons for Lamar Jackson. I told you, hey, he can throw the ball. You need to have it so that he can throw the ball. There no more, hey, first half we're going to do 37 runs and only 15 passing plays. No, it needs to be either more balanced or let him throw it. You're not going to pay him $200 million over his lifetime to run the ball for the next 10 years. No, you're not. Baltimore Ravens, you have something to prove. Also, the Dallas Cowboys. I get so sick because they are in our division. And everybody like, how about them Cowboys? And every year about week 8, these guys either flake or they start to come up. Week 8, I don't know what it is. The first 8 weeks, if they're playing good 6-2, start off great. Oh, the Cowboys have arrived. And then the next 8 weeks, they probably go, 2-6. So they barely make the playoffs. So I feel like Dallas, you have a lot to prove because you have Dak coming back. Ezekiel Elliott is getting in shape. You got 3 good receivers. Your tight end is pretty good. Your offensive line, you know, y'all were makeshift and banged up last year. They will be back. Your defense, you added some new and fresh pieces. So you really don't need a lights out secondary if you have a great offense and a good front 7. All you have to do is keep the games close and you can win it because you have enough talent to win games. Anything beneath the NFC Championship, Dallas Cowboys, you guys would still be in you suck category. No, there's no more excuses no more. You have the whole entire team. This team kind of reminds me of that you guys went 12-4 and you didn't get past Green Bay because of that one catch. They have been hung over ever since. So Dallas Cowboys, you got a lot to prove. Will any of these teams from the injuries last year get over the hump? I don't know, but I'm hoping my Eagles would have at least a decent season. I'm not really used to the flat out 4-12 seasons, whatever. So we haven't had one of those in a while. We went to the playoffs. We won the Super Bowl, won 17. We went to the playoffs 2 years after that. So like I said, the 4-12s, we don't have them often, but we also don't like exactly win Super Bowls every year either. So I just need to have a decent season so it looks like we're actually moving towards something. As for Major League Baseballs, guess what? See it? My Phillies are on a 4-game winning streak. Thank you, Jesus. They was killing me. They finally started playing some small ball, stopped trying to jack everything over the fence, and they started playing fundamental baseball. I love it. I feel like once they change that up, like we're getting more base hits, guys are actually running bases. I swear at one time it just looked like every at bat looked like they was trying to swing for a home run instead of getting somebody on base or moving the next player over if they're at first to second. Like they just forgot the game of the game of baseball. There are certain things that you can do well in baseball as a mediocre talented team and still win games. We have more talent than a lot of teams to be better than mediocre. We're better than mediocre. I wouldn't say we're elite, but putting the ball in play. Like if the defense is set up, let's say the first baseman and the second baseman are playing, let's say, kind of close to the grass, because they, then you kind of like try to drop the ball behind them into, that green grass in front of the right fielder or center fielder just so you can get on base. Give yourself some confidence. If that pitcher is not, paying attention or that catcher don't have a gun, you steal second base. Move over. Stuff like that can win you games. That's basic baseball. Hitting the ball, catching the ball, running bases, understanding what is going on. Hey, on defense, the catcher walks out. Hey, we got a guy on first and we got a guy on third. There's one out. Let's try to turn a double play and get out of this inning. Basic stuff. Like I said, I'm not like no baseball expert. Played a couple years and learned a lot, but these guys looking like they missed the fundamentals. So right now, the MLB standings right now, Tampa Bay Rays are 42-24. They are ahead of the American League East. Chicago White Sox are 41-24. They're starting to rise from the crap and move up to the cream side. White Sox starting to pull away with that division. Oakland A's are still 3 games ahead in the American West. National League, we're still somehow behind the Mets. I don't know how is it that we both have 32 wins, but we played 6 more games than them. But yeah. So we're number 2, and the Mets are number 1 in the National League East. The Central, the Brewers are tied with the Cubs. Okay, that's gonna be a tight little race at the end. And what is this? The National League West, San Francisco Giants are 1 game ahead of the Dodgers. So Mookie Betts, you got a little work cut out for yourself. I think you can do it. I'm watching you. It depends on if you guys make it to and win another ring. Who knows? I may buy your jersey. But as for that, of course, my Phillies, I hope you guys keep this win streak up. We still second in our division against the Mets. But, who knows? We could find a way to squeeze it out. But everybody, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley, and I am out of here.